Let the bass kick.
Foot up on top of the ceiling fan, and he's holding onto the mic like this, like
singing.
Hey, yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to my mic real quick.
I just don't know what to do with my hands.
What up?
Goodness.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
How
How are you today, friend?
Yesterday was 32. Today's 33. We are burning the midnight oil, boys.
Burn and turn, baby. Burn and turn.
And I just want to say, Bobby, Brodie is in the Sapphire Lounge. So golf snaps.
This has been what?
That's the first time I've ever introduced a guest before I introduced us. But
That's how you know it's good.
that's how you know it's good. And I'll give you guys the rest of the skinny on Bobby here in just a second. But I do want to look at me. I'm about to start holding the mic like Jay. I was just doing
If you gotta caress it.
doing such a good impression of him. But no, dude, I am Will for real. And you?
I'm Marcus.
I checked. I think I'm Jay.
I think you might
Bobby.
be.
All right.
And that's Bobby Brodie in the house.
You might as well put the printle up.
It's up.
I was gonna say.
I already did it. I had a feeling I might say that twice within the first 10 minutes of the show. So, yes, our guest tonight, and the reason we are here 2 days in a row, is because it's not every day you can get in a room with the man that used to be the owner and operator of Cloud9 Disc Golf here in Nashville. For those of you, a lot of you probably listening and watching this are newer to the Nashville Disc Golf community, and you may have no friggin' clue what I'm talking about. But in 2013, when I started playing disc golf, Cloud9 was the pro shop in the Nashville area. And you guys originally were over by Sanders Ferry, and then you relocated over to Cedar Hill, and that was where you were at when I discovered you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember so many things about Cloud9. It was where I bought a lot of my first discs. And coincidentally, in 2014, Cloud9 also put on the Rumble at Ravenwood, which was the first PDGA event I ever played.
Nice.
So it's weird. Last night we talked to the TD who ran the first league I ever played.
Yeah.
Now we're talking to the
That
guy
was your
who...
first tournament.
That was the first PDGA tournament I ever played. I had played some unsanctioned stuff in leagues and stuff, but I had never played a sanctioned event.
He even got video coverage,
Yeah.
and they were showing people. There was like they're panning through, and Will's chilling out, just hanging out right through the crowd. That's
Nice.
pretty cool.
I was a little skinnier,
remember.
and I had longer hair.
Man,
Yeah,
that,
you did have
that was a
long
fun
hair.
tournament.
Man, yeah.
Yep.
Man, we're going to talk all about it,
The
too.
rocker days.
Yeah, yeah dude. Yeah, I remember that was... So 2014, it was not long after that I ran my first real, ran a tournament, but it was a trilogy challenge.
Yep.
So I was just, that was like when I saw the way all of that went and all the moving parts and what you guys went through to put that thing together, I was fascinated. And that was probably where I really got interested in being behind the table on an event. So you were a part of a lot of firsts for me, man.
Well,
Thank
good.
you. Thank you for everything that you did for me and for everybody in Nashville that plays disc golf.
You remember right before the tournament started, it started storming, and you wake me up on the couch. I got to work the next day at 5 o'clock in the morning. He wakes me up about 1 o'clock. He's like, "Hey, it's storming. Do you think we ought to go to Ravenwood and take those tents down?" I'm like, probably. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I knew
dude.
you'd be the only one to go.
I just remember thinking I gotta be at work. We get back to Leslie's house, and about 2 hours I had to be at work. So right before the opening day, and I played that tournament, teed off random drawed my tee time. Got lucky it was in the afternoon.
Random.
I mean, Jared, hook up to our boy Jared out there. What's he doing nowadays? Have you talked to him?
Who's that?
Jared, who did the tee times for us with the
My
dog.
goodness. Yes. You wouldn't recognize him. So,
He lose a bunch of weight.
who? Jared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, congrats to him.
Jared's not the same Jared. He's half a Jared.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll always surprise somebody.
He'll be back out. I'm sure you all see him.
Oh, that's good to
golf.
hear.
So,
The question is, will you be back out?
we'll see.
I mean, you showed me 2 discs today in your car, and you haven't been real You haven't been excited to show me a couple of discs since I've seen you in a long time.
I'll be ready to play. So yeah.
I want to see some discs.
I mean, it's a great time to get back into disc golf right now. We're exploding.
It is. It's unbelievable. So the sport's exploding. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. You know, I've got a lot to do still. But yeah, I've been thinking about it. We've been talking about it. I've been discussing it with a few people, and yeah, so I'm definitely gonna play again. So
Hell yeah. That's
Well,
great
one of-
news.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, so we'll see. We've got a few things maybe in the line here, so we'll see how things work out. I see all the changes and everything else going on, and there's a lot happening. So we'll see. You know, so I keep in touch with Barry and everybody. So you know,
You're
never
talking
know.
about Mr. Barry Schultz, correct?
yes,
The other champ.
The Barry. Yeah.
yes, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
Daddy-O.
The Barry. The Burr.
You know, he signed up for MCO this year.
He did.
Yeah,
Already.
he signed up
Nice.
last year, but he had to drop out last minute. But this year, he signed up early again.
Yeah.
I know him and Paige just had a baby.
Yeah. That was part of the thing. He had
Yeah.
he was fighting an injury, and then Paige was pregnant. Pretty good and pregnant.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's cool?
Yep.
Next year I can play against Barry in the MCO.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
Nice.
be? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Next
awesome.
year.
I
So I
know
guess
it.
you're not gonna be on the board next year.
What? Huh? What? Huh, what?
Marcus is a board member now, Bobby.
Damn. One more year, huh?
Yeah, you can attribute, I guess, some of this success to you as well, because you know I definitely frequented your store at both locations.
Yeah, man.
Whenever I was going out to Sanders
Yep.
Ferry Park,
Oh yeah.
I think the building was blue, and the big, huge glass out front. You know, you can definitely see right through the building. Like, man,
Yeah.
got to stop by.
That's it.
You know, because like I'm going out to Sanders Ferry for the Monday night singles or whatever else, and
Yeah.
sure enough, I see your store every time, and I'm like, yeah, may as well stop by, you know,
Yep.
spread some love. Yeah.
Yep.
One of my, I guess, great memories was being a part of the Cloud9 team with the
yeah.
multitude of players that was out there on Mac Farmer's land that one day.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? We all had our shirts on. We were all like, you know, decked out. I still got my shirt in there with Cloud9, the gray one in there.
I still got him.
Yeah. So I still got that shirt. It's definitely one of my like favorite memories, like being a part of the team. So
Yeah.
very
Cool.
excited and cool to have you.
because that was a star-studded team, man.
Yeah, it was.
Ken Climo, Barry Schultz on that team.
Nico at one point.
Yeah, Nico at one point.
We yeah. It was fun,
Mountain Man.
So how did you get in with those guys? How did you get into meeting all those guys?
You know, really, I mean, Tommy Slayton,
Tommy Slayton.
he got me into disc golf, so he started it all. It's all his fault.
Blame Tommy. Shout out to Tommy, by the way.
Tommy really, you know, he had the vision. He did it. I just, you know, more or less backed it on and went with him real quick, and then really started playing and learning. But Climo, I met Climo through Harless, Dave Harless.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So we went down to the Players Cup in 2008, and we took Harless down and sponsored the tournament and rented a room, all that, hung out, and met Climo and everybody. So that was really the introduction.
That's awesome, man.
So you know, and really it was a struggle to start back then with all the manufacturers. Just really having a trailer, or not even a trailer yet. We were just riding in the back of Tommy's truck. So we did one tournament, and I'd contacted Innova and Discraft, you know, and they basically shot me down. So until I had a store, we were just passing by, you know, where I was, and going to the park, and I kept seeing the for rent sign, and we did that one tournament and did well with Dutch and those guys up in Owensboro.
Yeah.
So, and then, bam, came down, and on the way home from the tournament, we stopped by. I grabbed the number. Tommy ran in the gas station, and I called dude and was meeting him the next day, and told Tommy, hey, meet me down there at that gas station. And that's when dude came up, and we rented the shop. And right before I signed the contract, I called Jonathan Poole and was like, hey. And he's like, well, you know, send me a picture of that contract. Damn, this dude's a pain in the ass.
We just had JP on like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yep. So really, that's what happened.
What year was that when all that started?
That was what, 2007, 2008.
2007. Wow.
Yeah, I think we opened the shop in 08, 07.
That was the year that I moved to Nashville. Was 2008, December of 2008. I moved here.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so that was really what started it all. And then Saunders Ferry, it was the only park up there close to the house anyway. So, and really it wasn't, well, there were a lot of people going. It wasn't like Seven Oaks, but, they were starting to get things together. Tommy and the crew, they started it all. Him and his roommate, Jamie. So, yeah, it was, that's what did it.
Yeah,
I hadn't touched a disc. I knew nothing about disc golf, and
that's some.
Hey, Jay, will you actually? I'm sorry to keep doing this. Just tip it down a little bit and tighten it up. Just the actual mic itself.
There you go.
There you
How's
go.
that?
No, you're good.
Much
sorry.
better?
Yeah, much better.
All right, cool.
Sorry to keep pestering about that. I just want this to sound good.
Kissing it like Jay.
Yeah, don't do that. Happy medium, middle path. But so
Precious
2007,
Mike.
2008, you opened up the shop, and was that the idea? Was that how the idea for the team came about? Was that you got introduced to Kenny and them through Harless? That was where the idea of actually starting the team came up?
No, really, that took a couple years to put that together. We tossed it around. We wanted to do something different, and we really Ambassador kind of more or less was created, and I think they put the team together first.
Okay.
So that's kind of what pushed us to do it. And then Climo, talking with him, and I was very fortunate to have that relation and connection and be able to bounce a lot of ideas off Kenny. So Kenny's been a big mentor of mine. And then having Barry come and, meeting him, having him come and stay in Nashville for a short time he did. And, so those two guys really I bounced a lot off. And then Tommy. Tommy's been, the back end of the front end, the back end. Really, he's had a lot of these visions that really, we ran with, put together. So the team was definitely not an idea at first. But once it came together, it worked out. So, having Kenny
golf snaps for the Slaytons too, while we're on the subject of the
absolutely.
Slaytons, because they did a lot for Sanders Ferry, especially, but for disc golf in Nashville in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a handful of guys for sure. So I think up in Hendersonville, though, for sure, Tommy's put this all together. So.
Oh, yeah.
Another memory come across me. That one time, Paul and Beth was here. Cloud9 Open.
2011.
Shoestrick.
No, that was MCO.
Shoestrick was here.
Yep.
Then Nico was here too, wasn't
Kevin Rarick was
He's-
playing well. I
he? He's
remember.
back too now.
I remember.
Yeah, just signed up for MCO.
Paul and Beth doing a 360 shot from hole 18 up to the practice basket. And almost making it there, and I think hitting the tree or something on the way.
What?
That was definitely one of my more favorite times.
That was our first big tournament. So, and that was
Cloud9 Open.
that was pretty cool and slick.
Even the disc on that tournament was epic too. I remember that disc too. It had these rays on it. It's one of my favorite discs. So yeah,
that was cool. Well, yeah, we were sponsoring Will, and we were watching the players list, the registration, me and Mountain Man, and didn't see a lot of people. It was like, damn, Will's about to take the whole field. So, Dan's like, we got to bring some competition. And we pondered around, and then he's like, you know what, I can get Paul Macbeth. I was like, no way. So, had to call his parents and see if we could fly him to Tennessee to come beat Will. So, you know, and it worked out. That was cool. That was fun, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my first experience with Paul Macbeth. So,
That tournament had like huge crowds. I can remember walking up to like down to the water shots from hole 13 down to 14 and just seeing like the huge crowd of people like walking and just paying attention and just like, you know, wanting to see every second of it. It was awesome.
yeah. No, I mean, you know, stuff like that. That's what made me want to do more. Bigger events, more events, bringing in people. You know, once we seen we could, it was like,
Because
let's
y'all
do
were
it.
everywhere.
Well, I was gonna say some of the DVDs that, which
Yeah,
was the
you
only
look back
thing
at
you
all
could
the old Class
get back in
DVD
the
series.
day.
Cloud9 was on everything.
Yeah. You know, we met Billy Crump and got buddies with them and wanted to sponsor more footage. I mean, we've seen the growth in the sport and the potential. It's just we needed to figure out how to make it happen. So anything and everything you could possibly do to make it happen, we tried to get our foot in. You know, because we were all in the same thing. So trying to build the sport. So. Yeah, it was, and then we didn't have a lot of the resources. I mean, now they pulled it together pretty good. So,
Yeah.
but it took a lot, you know, and a lot of everybody. I mean, all the manufacturers, all the money spent, all the time spent, all the everything. So it's yeah, and now it's where it's at. I mean, you know, succeeded. So,
Well, you mentioned the manufacturers and it being tough to get into with them early, and now we have a problem with getting into manufacturers because they can't fulfill orders. So it's kind of a crazy shift.
yeah,
Where they would only let you in if you had a store, and now they can
Supply
barely
and
provide
demand.
their stores, especially at this time of thing.
Supply and demand. I mean, really, who would have thought? I mean,
I wouldn't have.
In 1 year, you know, even being fully away from the sport, I still kept an eye on everything. And watching PDGA numbers is like, damn, here we go.
Yeah.
How many are we gonna get? So, you know, it's how many more are we gonna get?
Well, I mean, you think about it. I
keep
joined
going.
in 2013, and my number is 61881, and now we're in 130 some thousand. So the size of the PDGA has doubled
Yeah.
in the amount of time that I've been playing disc golf, and I've only been playing for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So that's it's crazy.
Who was it that said your PDJ number is more like of a timestamp?
Yeah, for sure. And
Well,
it
you were-
is.
Oh, he was back in the round.
That's
back
the whole
in
reason
day.
people get their babies PDGA numbers.
I was just about to say, Adeline, but he was back in the day where you could actually pick your number for a little
Yeah.
while. They did.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that old.
My bad.
What the?
I thought you were.
No. I think I
Way
was
to go,
right.
Jay.
I was right when
I got
they
mine.
Gave it to you.
I got mine right
Oh,
before
okay.
Will. I'm 48.
I'm what 33319. So, and that was 08. I probably didn't get a PGA until 08, 07, or no 09.
When you open the store?
right
about the same time?
maybe after.
Okay, wow.
It was quite a bit after actually.
So all that stuff just kind of lined up. Like the universe just kind of got in out of the way and said, "Hey, open up this store." You did it, and then you're like, "Well, I guess it's becoming serious."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, it actually, you know, Tommy gave me a stack of Frisbees. That was my physical therapy after wrecking a motorcycle. So that was my goal. He brought a basket and a stack of Frisbees, and if I could make it to the basket, and that was what I did, not paying for it. So finally, it was like, you know, I need to go out and figure this out and learn how to play this. And then he took me to a tournament. I was like, shit. So anyway, yeah, that's when I figured out, you know, I'd rather be on the back end of this sport and play, let Tommy play. So he could throw. But then it was like, you know, I better learn how to throw these things. So I secretly went out and started playing myself. And then I called him one day. I was like, hey, man, meet me at the course. Watch this. Yeah. Or show me how to do this.
So was Mountain Man always a part of the picture, or did that happen later?
No, I think it was a couple years after we started that I finally met Mountain Man.
Okay.
I'd seen him at tournaments and stuff like that, you know, so he was part of the pro crew,
Right.
you know, so, and I was just kind of getting into it, so feeling it all out. But yeah, it was probably a year or two after we started Mountain Man. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Was it like an instantly kindred spirit? You guys just were buds right about off the bat. You knew you were gonna be doing
No, I
something?
mean, we
together?
kind of just hit it off, you know, and yeah, I mean, you know, he was another local that I seen around a lot and bounced ideas off of him, and you know, I mean, he's Mountain Man, he's a local pro, so he was somebody else's sponsor, pick up and be part of this crew and help grow the business and the sport.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and there were a lot of people, but obviously there were certain individuals we knew that were like, okay, then they're really into this. Let's do it. So, and they're all over. You know, and that was something else. It was not just Nashville. You know, that's why I traveled to Tommy a lot, and we just went everywhere we possibly could. So,
Yeah.
it's not just a local thing. You know, it was I knew I wanted more and wanted to do more. So,
Well,
Were you? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's important, I think, for people that were around that for Cloud9, because let's face it, about half the people we see on the course now have come around in the last year. But I mean, for people that were around and that continue to talk about what it was like back then or this and that about Cloud9, it's important to remember that, like, you guys opened up a store at a time when people only got into business in plastic out of love for the game, out of love for the game and making it better for the people that played it, because there wasn't money in it.
No.
It wasn't like, hey, we're going to get rich off of this and just hang out and play disc golf all the time. That wasn't the idea. I think a lot of people kind of get that misconception about, you know, just the idea of opening up a disc golf store. It's like, oh, you got it made. Back then, it wasn't so. Yeah. And you guys did it because you wanted to run events. You wanted to make big things happen in Nashville, and you did. I mean, you look back at the Clash DVD series from the 2011 Music City Open, you would think it was like that day's equivalent of like a national tour, disc golf pro tour event today. Because, you know, it was Ken Climo, Barry Schultz, Will Schustrick, Nico LaCastro. Yep. That's something that, like, I've been working to do in Nashville since I got involved. Yeah. And you made it happen almost in like really, really similar circumstances in a different time. Yeah. And
a very tough time to do something like that.
How hard was it to get off the ground? Did you guys how hard was it to keep the doors open? Was it, and then, you know, obviously you moved locations. So what was the motivation behind that? I know obviously Cedar Hill, but.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult at that time. You know, it was disc golf. Disc golf was unheard of for a lot of people, majority of people. So, I mean, now you got Philo on, you know, still throwing the albatross. I mean, it's that blew disc golf up too. Yeah. So, you know, certain little things. No, it wasn't easy. That's for sure. Getting it out there, getting people to accept the sport. You know, all the clinics, all the traveling, all the with everybody. I mean, it wasn't just what I did at all. I mean, it really, we were really nothing. I mean, I what little bit I could do, I wanted to make a mark, first of all, well, we had the opportunity to do so, so I took the opportunities. You know, but for Nashville, for the company, for the team, for everything. So, you know, when I see the opportunity, I definitely took it. But no, it was not easy. This was not, back then, that wasn't an easy thing. So I put in a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and money. So, you know, there were times when I put in more than I ever made. I definitely put in more than I ever made. But it was the love of the sport, you know, and it was the family, you know, the disc golf family. It was something different. So
you got in as like an investor in a sense, and then through it all, ended up loving the sport and staying in it for that.
Yeah, it became my life.
And then you. So what was the move for? What did you move from Saunders to Cedar for? What was that the same thing, trying to survive, or was it just you just needed a new store for some reason?
No, yeah, it was definitely, you know, either leaving that location and opening a new one, but getting closer to Cedar Hill. I mean,
just the course in general.
I played Cedar Hill like every day. I'm like, why am I driving over here? And then finally the place was open, and I was like, well, screw it. Well, I mean, I can play Cedar Hill every day and be right here. And I mean, at the time, Seven Oaks was Seven Oaks. I didn't want to go down there, so I looked at everywhere. Cedar Hill just was the spot.
Yeah.
It was convenient. It was easy, and yeah.
To this day, the best course in town, and in most people's opinion, I would say that's a fair statement.
That was my other home. I mean, I lived in Action City. I'm driving over to Hendersonville all the time. It was like I stopped by Cedar Hill anyway, so that's why half the time I was late to work. So I was at Cedar Hill. Oops.
Well, and
I love the sport, so yeah. I mean, we've seen trying to get closer to Nashville.
Yeah,
that was a big part. So yeah,
for sure.
We were out there. It was hard to bring people out to Hendersonville.
And it still is, from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's out, so we miss all that South crowd and East crowd and what little West crowd we had. So it was
West plans in the works to get some love back to Sanders Ferry and start bringing that back into rotation on more stuff for sure.
Yeah, we're getting new baskets out there for this year.
Saunders Ferry, I mean, it's a great course. So I mean, it's going to get the love.
Yeah,
it's like anything else, and there's enough players now. They're going to get the love once the water goes away.
Yeah, for sure.
They'll be good.
Yeah.
So, and those guys, I mean, they built a name. It's like anybody else. They built a name. So I think people know about Saunders Ferry, and
for sure,
it'll get the traffic. Triple Creek, all of them. So White House, all the new courses, and that's been a bonus for North Nashville.
Have you been to White House recently?
I hadn't been in a long time. I hadn't been in any. I about went and played Cedar Hill the other day, but again, I'm scrambling, trying to move right now. So yeah.
Understood.
No, once I get all my stuff done, then I'll be playing. So
yeah,
gotcha.
Well, that makes sense.
So I want to know, and I know this just because I've known you for so long, but I want to know how you gained access to the Innova secret room. And I was going to talk to Jonathan Poole about it, but I didn't know how open he'd be with it. So I'm just curious because there's the secret room that has all the really, really, really good old stuff collected away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like gold. It's getting valuable.
Well, I didn't know if a lot of people know that or not. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it. But there's a secret room somewhere tucked away in Innova that only certain people have access to. And this room contains a collection of everything that's been made that has been popular or not or sought after. Yeah.
This is like one of those great myths, like secret passageways at Disneyland that you could find.
Well, in 2014, this man, I was a finalist in a putting competition, and so ended up getting a VIP pass to the USDGC, and he went every year. So 2014, I convinced him to haul my ass along, me and Rodney Goad, and we get down there and we're going around, we're doing different things, and it's like system overload. I'm buying disc everywhere, and he's like, "I'm going to go to the factory today, blah 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 blah," and he's like, "I'm going to pick up some stuff." Well, he comes back,
save your money,
and he's got these stacks of discs that I'm like, "You can't buy that. Where the fuck did you get that?" And he was like, "Oh, I got to go in the secret room." And he was like, "Only Kenny and other people get to go in that room." And I'm like, "What is this room?" I'll let you explain the room.
It's a secret room.
You can't explain a secret, Jay. That's kind of violating what makes it secret.
Well, it's not so much a secret. You don't get access.
Secrets.
And if you don't know,
now you know.
You know.
Well, it's like you said, a myth.
Yeah.
It's
keep it secret. Keep it safe.
I don't know about it much anymore, but it's yeah.
What do you think about this now? Because we're in we've talked a little bit about how disc golf has exploded and the various effects of that. Well, one of the things is it's real hard to come by some plastic these days. And Innova is doing some things with their retailers, and Discraft is making some waves by
not doing anything,
moving to a mystery box format and not taking on any new wholesale customers and only doing custom stamps for their events. And
yeah, it's I mean, they're kind of. It's a big change right now with the sport, with the players, with the manufacturers. there's a lot of changes. There's obviously new manufacturers, a lot more competition. So, there's just, changes with, Innova Discraft or, Paul Macbeth, Discmania, Innova. There's a lot of changes happening. So,
What do you think about that and the big money coming in? I mean, you're
Yeah,
from the grassroots
I
days.
mean, look at the sponsorship. So that's really what's going to do it. I mean, Paul right there. That we need more Pauls. I mean, if we get, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. The sport is going through a lot of huge changes right now. So, I mean, look at the big shift in all the players. That was kind of funny. But everybody's jumping manufacturer. Everybody's doing different stuff. So, there's been some big shifts, and there still will be, obviously. Not sure really what's going to happen, but the money's coming in. So that's what we want. That's what's going to build the sport and put it on ESPN and have televised tournaments and everything else, where we really want it to be. So we love our little underground sport, but I mean, you know what? We built this sport. We're not going to stop it. So
if we compare
if
we compare everything that's going on right now, as far as like what people are getting paid, more and more, are we like at the compared to basketball? Are we at the Magic Johnson stage, or are we at the Michael Jordan?
The Pete Maravich stage.
I mean, really, this is hard to compare to anything like that. This would be more comparable like skateboarding, extreme sports,
Okay.
and really you want to compare it to something like hacky sack. I mean, a lot of people were doing that in the 80s, everything else, and then all of a sudden it kind of faded out. Disc golf did the same thing a little bit, but, a group of people through that tough time kept alive, kept pushing. Compared to basketball, soccer, anything else, no. I mean, they've been around for hundreds of years. Disc golf's been around for so long, and you still got a lot of people, yes, about disc golf, what's that? So once we get past that phase, then yeah, and who knows?
Well, I think it's like really great that, just like you said, we're at the stage right now where some people still look at the sport and they go, disc golf, what's that? But then maybe they don't know that people are actually like getting paid, especially like with Paul and Beth right now, like setting the new mark. Waiting for another golfer to come in, disc golfer to come in and reset that mark, hopefully.
Do you think that's going to take the golfer or the manufacturer to step up? Because that seems to be the thing. There seems to be the guys putting in the work.
I'm not asking, like, which one's going to step up next. I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, because somebody did get paid.
Oh, I got you.
What comparison would be to as far as, like, other sports to say, okay, we're at the beginning stages of like PGA. We're at the beginning stage of like MLS. We're at the beginning stages like.
Well, I think he kind of made a good point with when you talk about skateboarding and extreme sports, because when it first hit, Tony Hawk is the only name you knew.
I mean, same thing.
And so he was the guy getting paid.
It's like,
but now
they're thugs, blah blah, whatever. So disc golf. What's disc golf? It's just recreational stoner sport, blah blah. So now there's money.
When we get it more, I guess, recognized into, I guess, standard schools, K through 12, sure. Then I think people will obviously at that point they'll know, hey, we know what disc golf is, and I think that's going to have to be a hurdle we have to overcome if we're going to have to get disc golf to be known across the board.
Well, do you think that's going to continue? You talk about the ESPN coverage and the CBS coverage we had last year. You think that's going to continue this year? I hope it does. But do you foresee that now? I
think we only see that getting bigger and more widespread. I think now that we've done the CBS Sports and we've done the ESPN2, I think now is where we're on deck to see like a regular CBS or ESPN. Yeah. Okay. And I think it's going to be gradual. Obviously, everything I'm saying right now is completely speculative, but
right.
Based on conversations I've had and people that I've talked to, it seems like there are already negotiations happening on what it's going to take to get disc golf on ESPN, the Uno, and and I think that what you're going to see right off the bat is kind of like feature spots. So whatever the programming might be at the time on ESPN or CBS, there will be interjected like a 30-minute to a 1 hour just feature spot of an event. So where you're not necessarily seeing hole by hole coverage, you're not getting live, you're not getting all that stuff, but it's like ESPN's version of a, hey world, this is what this event is all about. This is what it is. And I think that is more appropriate of an approach, because you saw what happened when CBS Sports came and did the DDO coverage. Obviously they had a tough job to do, because one, you have to make it appealing to disc golf fans that are rabid on social media when you don't provide immaculate coverage. Two, you have to provide for the outside world who doesn't know about disc golf and package it in a way where they can kind of catch up real quick. And I think if they had just done the one thing, if they had recognized the opportunity that they had to, hey, we're going to introduce the world that doesn't know yet to this sport that is really getting momentum, and then had just focused on that. And I think that a strategy of doing like a 1 hour feature spot on a big disc golf event and maybe doing a series of those from time to time, that's going to have more of an effect on getting people that are not currently playing disc golf interested in watching disc golf coverage. And I think that's key to there being any kind of mainstream coverage on a regular basis.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about mainstream coverage in particular, then obviously then you're right on the right point. But I think that, like, as far as like growing the sport, like if we got it into 50 schools per year or per month, you know, every 2 weeks, whatever the numbers may come out, like hopefully they start like going in that direction, then it'd be more important than getting on ESPN for 1 or 2 days where somebody may or may not be watching it, because I know a lot of people don't watch ESPN. You know, I know a lot of people don't watch sports. You know, but I know those same people have kids. Those same people have cousins, and those same people have kids that have cousins that's in school. Well, and if we're getting it into schools, if we're actually taking the time to like make sure that we're getting into the avenues where people can, you know, do something where it's cheap and they can like be happy about doing it, and not worrying about, you know, the 15 minutes they get on ESPN or two hours they get on ESPN. Because even if it's on ESPN at the prime time, you know, I might be podcasting.
Sure.
You know, I might be at work, you know, I might be out with my family doing something and I miss it, you know.
Sure.
And a lot of people miss out on things like that, but you don't miss out on the internet.
Yeah.
The internet
No, I
doesn't lie.
mean, it's social media, you know, it's and time. So,
But I totally agree as far as like the getting it on ESPN and
well, I think
getting the, you know, total view of disc golf out there. That's definitely like an avenue we should definitely approach. But why approach one? You know,
No, I think
I'm just saying, like, we already have really, really good hole by hole total summarized coverage for disc golfers. We already have
But
that
I love
covered.
the YouTubes.
Yeah, I do too. And it's easy access, and it's made for ease of access.
Yep.
You know, I think this opportunity, why would you want, it's like, are we really trying to create this opportunity where we spend all the money to get disc golf on mainstream coverage, but we only are going to think it's a good idea if it's something that we want to see? Yep. Like, why would we want it on mainstream coverage, more mainstream than it already is, if not to get it into the eyes and minds of new people, new viewers? And if you're going to package it in a way that you're enjoying watching it, it's not going to be something that is going to resonate with them. I mean, like, why would not you just go watch Jomez, or you go watch Disc Golf Network, and let the people that watch ESPN see this and get interested, and then do some Googling. I don't know.
About it wasn't that long ago. All we had were DVDs, so there was no live coverage. There was no anything. And then when it started, you had 100 people maybe looking at it. So now, you know, it's growing. It's growing. It's going to take time. It's going to keep pushing the way everybody's been pushing. You know, it's coming for sure. You know, I mean, there's been a lot of changes just in the world right now. So, you know, disc golf's blowing up. It's going to happen. So.
A big part of that for me is commercial spots. You know, if you're not, I mean, commercials obviously pay for the programs that you're watching. So if you're not in the commercials, then, you know, chances are you're missing out on those opportunities as well. And I've been watching like some videos on YouTube recently, have seen dynamic discs start to jump up into my lineup as far as like commercials that I see on YouTube. And I'm super enthused about that, because if you're not seeing, you know,
look
our
at
type
dynamic.
of like disc golf on commercials, then, you know,
Dynamic.
you got to catch the show, you got to catch the YouTube, you got to catch it in different ways, but commercials are everywhere. You know,
I mean, Dynamic has done it really. Out of all the companies out there, they start out as a shop, kind of like I did. So he had the budget, he did it, and they made that move. So You know, it's in a little amount of time. It hadn't taken very long. So
they're very, very good at capitalizing on
Good
seeing the
marketing,
trends.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I mean, their
They were on
commercials
top of
right
that.
now, it seems like they got like 10-1 when it comes to commercials.
Jeremy,
Like across
Jeremy's
the
done
board.
well.
Across
So,
the board,
yeah.
like as far as like Innova commercials,
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy commercials, like dynamic commercials are by far have been the funniest, like more content driven.
Well, it's the same thing as, what really cemented their foot in the game to begin with was the apparel. They had apparel that was flashier, looked better, was cooler, was innovative, was something that no other disc golf company was doing, and that is what got everybody's eyes on them. And that's why you can look back at that Clash DVD from 2011 MCO, and you see people wearing dynamic disc shirts before they even had discs.
Oh no, we had Huck
And
Lab.
They're also
Huck
doing,
Lab was the company with the
I was a
logo and
huge
all
fan
that.
of
So
Huck.
I mean, they kind of, but they were really the only ones. Yeah, I mean, I could have, should have done them, but so it was. Dynamic came out next. They came out with the logo, everything else. So
yeah, their logo was
but
pretty nice too.
look how many others have come out in a short amount of time. So
There were
you know,
over
even-
100 manufacturers now or something?
I mean, the last 5 years that I've kind of taken a break, step back and watch it, it's doubled, tripled. So, there's a lot of new manufacturers, a lot of new everything. So,
Well, when you were talking about growing, I want to get back just for that for a second. You mentioned the kids and getting into schools, and that's going to be a big driver in getting other people to know about it because obviously parents are into what their kids are in. Well, I mean, on that same note, last year's MCO, we had junior coverage just for a round, and it went well. And it was perceived well. And when you look at it, like you were talking about, you may not be at work or you may not be at the TV, but in the summer times, like how many people like watch baseball besides diehard baseball fans? But I'm not a baseball fan that watches baseball. But when I see the Little League World Series on, I always stop and watch for 30 minutes an hour,
Right.
Because it's kids. And so when you talk about that, to me, it's like, oh, maybe we try doing the World Championships with the kids and seeing how that goes on TV, and because everybody likes to watch kids doing something like that.
That's the best thing about like schools because you can bring together, like I've said this like 100 times already. You can bring together a mom and her son. A dad and his daughter. You can bring together like grandpa, and have those guys out there walking with the dog.
Yep.
And having a good time, and then all of a sudden they got a tournament coming up, and then like, okay, cool, let's play a mixed tournament where you have to play against, your teacher and like a couple students or some kind of like mixed gameplay, because we got like all kind of formats that can like be
Make
very,
it
very
fun.
advertising, make it fun. Yeah. So when you have all these advantages like right in front of you, all these options right in front of you, might as well use them to be like, okay, so we've got this school, bam, we've got these kids, bam, okay, so how can we bring it all together? Cool. We'll make a co-ed tournament. We'll make a mom and dad tournament. We'll make a cousin and sister tournament.
Yeah.
Like whatever. You
Careful,
need to do.
we're getting close to Alabama.
Watch out.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
No, I
Pineapple.
I think the idea is brilliant. I think it's one that would work very well. And because what kid, when they get excited about something, what do? They want to tell everybody.
Right.
Like even if you don't want to hear it, like they're like, hey, I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna know.
Are we there yet?
Yeah,
Are we there
exactly.
yet? Are we there yet? I want
So,
a disc.
If you find a way to make it fun, where like all the kids are competing against their teachers.
I mean,
or
we've said
something
it
like that.
always: get the kids going, man. It's the cheapest, best thing. Families, everybody. So, but start with the kids. Continue with it.
Right.
It's a growing sport. It's
Because-
still growing. It's ongoing. It's going to continue. There's more people pushing for it, so it's going to happen, and it's going to happen quick. So it's part of it. And now we got social media. Keep hitting it.
I'm curious to know, what do you think back in the day? Because I know that like in 2008, 2009, social media was just kind of really becoming a thing. I mean, it was a thing, but it was not at the level that it is now. It was, people were using it, but Facebook, I think, real close to that time was still only for college students or students
Real
out
close,
of school.
yeah.
It was figuring out how to use it,
Right.
and how to make it work.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was all new, really.
Yeah, it
So, I don't know, when did Facebook come out?
Right. But I mean,
2004 or 5, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, when did the official like this is
Well,
what
you couldn't-
Facebook is going to be came out.
Well,
You
we'll
know,
have to
because
go
there
back and
were many different versions of Facebook where you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it does
When did
this,
I
and then like the
join
next person be like,
Facebook?
no, it does this. I'm like,
Right,
oh.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
So,
the time, you could
yeah,
only
I
be a
mean,
college student and get it. Like we were saying.
What we had back, 15 years ago, not even. So, it was limited.
Yeah, that was what
again,
I was pointing to.
it's-
Is you guys were at a transitional period where it was just kind of catching on to being a thing where, like cell phones, everybody's got social media.
Yeah.
That was where it was at.
Yeah. I mean, trying to even walk around and follow tournaments and players and post
Right.
scores or something like that on Facebook. So it was all manual.
PDGA Live, baby.
But I remember,
You burning DVDs over there?
Yes,
I remember Cloud9 being on Facebook, and I remember, keeping up with what was going on at the store through social media.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't what it is now because, like now, I don't have to put flyers up at courses physically at all.
No.
No.
Digital flyer, put it up on Facebook, share it to some groups and pages, let other people spread the word, and everybody sees it.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case then.
No,
You had to actually push and promote and do the dirty work.
wet flyers and staplers.
Yep.
So, we did it. And, now it's a lot different. So.
And I remember, and this is something I wanted to get your perspective on, and especially not just for me because I kind of know what the drill was, but for the audience and people that may not know, I remember one thing that I was super impressed with specifically. It was Christmas time. It had to have been 2013, and my wife got me a gift certificate to Cloud9 for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I remember at some point my mother-in-law or my father-in-law called me and told me that the gift certificate was in the mailbox, that it wasn't delivered by the mailman. It was a guy in a truck came by and put it in the mailbox. And I was like, man, holy crap. Bobby drove from Cedar Hill to Bellevue to put my gift certificate in the mailbox so I would get it before Christmas.
Yep.
And that is the kind of customer service that has put DD over the top in the business and in the industry, is being known for being able and being willing to go that extra mile to take care of people. And that was something that immediately made me respect you and look up to you and look at you like a leader in this community that I was becoming a part of. Yeah. And so it wasn't just going to the store. When I went there, I went to see who was in the store. I went there to talk to you. Mm-hmm. I went there to get your opinion on what was coming out. I wanted to get your ideas on this and this and this and this. Yep. You were serving a multitude of different roles and providing a multitude of different benefits to the community here. But I bet that there's a lot of people that are listening to or watching this podcast that all they remember is all the people complaining on Facebook about going to the store and having to wait 15 minutes because the door was locked. And now I understand.
It's like,
again, you're right next to Cedar Hill.
Complaining, go practice.
Right. You're right next to Cedar Hill, literally like right around the corner from Cedar Hill. And this is something we should explain for the audience that doesn't know. Cedar Hill was literally like if you get off of Briley Parkway on Dickerson Pike and turn left, like if you're coming from West Nashville, and you turn left on Dickerson and you go all the way down, and right as you're coming up, what's that family restaurant?
It's a meat and three.
Yeah,
it's
like Sweats
it's,
or something.
No, it's not Sweats, but it's definitely like
There's
family
a little
style
meat and three
restaurant
right there before
It's
you
called
get to the car
family
wash
style.
and the Shell.
Yeah.
And that was the shopping area. That was the strip mall where Cloud9 was. So it was literally right around the corner from Cedar Hill. Yeah. So now you mean to tell me you own a disc golf store that's around the corner from the best disc golf course in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're not going to take a long lunch every once in a while? Come on. Come on. You tell me, you look me in the eye and tell me that you're never going to do that. I'm going to look you in the eye and call you a damn liar. But no, do you feel like you gave Nashville the moon and they expected the stars to some extent?
I mean, I hope so. I did what I could. I had a good time, and it's blown up now. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I remember both locations, so I'm totally in agreement with that.
Yeah. It's funny, as I remember him asking me who Will McCaskill was, like in the shop one day. I was sitting up there because at the time I was going up there and helping you out when Rena couldn't, and I was sitting in the shop and he was like, "Who in the hell is Will McCaskill?" And I was like, "He's a dude on Facebook. He's running some tournaments now." He was like, "Because he keeps calling me and asking me questions about how to run tournaments."
Guilty.
I was like,
Can
I
confirm.
didn't know. But it was just so funny. He was like asking about it, and you brought that story up. I thought it was kind of
I
funny.
was putting the face with the name. It was like,
Who's this
what's
guy?
going on? I'm not going back to that.
Well, I appreciate you taking a chance on a noob, man, because
man.
all those experiences I had then, that was what, and this is why I'm always stressing to people, like, watch how you talk and how you act and how you treat people you don't know when you're on the course, man, because this might be their second round ever. This might be the first time they've decided to come out and try and meet some people or play with some folks they don't know. And if you act like an asshole,
They don't want
you might turn somebody away from disc golf forever, and they might never get out of it, may not ever have a chance to get out of it what we have gotten out of it because you decided to show your ass.
Yep.
So that's why I say things like that, is it's important. I mean, like, obviously, I talk a lot of smack. I have a podcast. It's kind of the thing we do, but it's like, keep your sense of humor alive.
Sure.
Have a little regard for others.
Yep.
Like, don't try to hurt people. I mean, like,
with anything, you know.
that should hurt you. It should hurt you to do something that hurts other people. But I mean, like, I don't know. I remember even then, and this was before really, like, I think trolling was even a term, but I remember watching those comments on Facebook and being like, golly, people, shut the hell
People
up.
need to get
Like,
out and play disc golf.
yeah, dude,
you
you're
know.
right next to
Get-
Cedar Hill. Go play a little bit. I guarantee you it'll be open when you get back.
Get off the internet, get off the couch, go play disc golf, change your world, change your life, you know, change your attitude.
Do something productive. Yeah.
So, you know, we've got that. You know, we've got a lot of other crap, but we've got disc golf. So hopefully
Yes.
it'll continue. It'll continue. So,
Yeah,
yep.
for sure.
And
And
then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You.
I was just going to say, you know, for those, we mentioned Ravenwood a little bit earlier, and we mentioned things that have been, or the things that drive disc golf. I feel like when you did Ravenwood, I say I was a small part compared to yourself, but Ravenwood was one of those to me that, like, it got the video coverage was one of the higher, you know, really, really good coverage at the time. And it got Ravenwood and Nashville most certainly on the map. And so I'm curious, for one, to know how Ravenwood came about and how that kind of was all done, because
that was
I
right
remember-
after the country club closed.
Yeah, and I remember the phone call I got about, you know, coming out and looking at the property from you. But not only that, but, like, how does it? I mean, like, what I'm basically saying is like, how does it feel in a sense to? I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but that was kind of like a staple moment or a catalyst moment that kind of pushed Nashville disc golf, and I feel like disc golf, because of the people that were here, kind of to that next level where people saw a little bit better coverage and saw an amazing course and an amazing design. But then I think that may have, like Will said, that one of those reasons that he got into doing what he was doing. I think it's a very inspirational event in a lot of ways. And
It's because I don't like the word no.
okay,
Yeah.
And after everybody, no, well, watch this. So I might have got it in a little over my head, but, you know, hey, we pulled it off, I guess.
oh, we definitely pulled it off.
You know,
It looked like you did to me. I mean, you know, there were snags. I mean, obviously that was a big tournament, man. I mean, people think at about a B tier now. Almost, it seems like you think about B tiers as being smaller events, but this was like, the sanctioning level was not proportionate to the spectacle that this event was, because you have never seen. I mean, like, especially for me, it was my first PDJ event, but it was so mind blowing, because I'm like, wait, 27 holes? I thought we played 18 holes. I thought this was like golf. Oh yeah, but, you know, we just got so much room.
that's disc golf.
Basically, yeah.
Look at all that open space.
Did you see that hole over there? Like, we might not have done that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, that was the thing. It was kind of like showcasing Ravenwood as what you wanted to do. You're like, I want Dan to do this. I want you to go with Dan, and Kenny's going to come in and tweak it when he's here.
Yeah.
And
I wanted the longest disc golf course ever.
And I made that happen in
Yeah,
2018.
and he took that
Longest
from you.
course in PDGA event history.
Nice. Yep.
What was it, like, almost 15? That was, it was right around
we had
15.
a 1,100 foot hole.
Yeah.
We were shooting.
We had
for
one
it.
that was 1,500.
Oh, was it 50? Was that
Yeah, 1,500.
Okay.
No, I mean, you know, that course being designed by Mountain Man, Barry, Kenny. I was just walking around with them. So, you know, I had ideas, but they worked it out. So it was fun. It
was
worked
phenomenal.
out. Yeah. That was a learning experience. That was for sure, you know, a vision I had that.
Well, did you know about Ravenwood before, or did it just happen that somebody mentioned it? How did you find Ravenwood? How did Ravenwood find you?
Ravenwood?
Yeah, itself, because that was you were the
Somebody,
first person to do it.
somebody had said something about it. And I think we were looking at another course or looking at somewhere else, and somebody mentioned Ravenwood. So I called the city and asked them about it, and so I'm like, yeah, we'll go check it out. They had no idea. I mean, they had to figure out, what they were going to rent it for, this, that, everything, and then the buildings that were up there had to deal with that.
That's like what Millridge is now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we were in the middle of not sure what they were going to do with that property. So
They're still not.
They still
They're
yeah.
still not.
no, I know. So
like we basically got the boot from the property because
Not
they were
really.
gonna-
They haven't even started construction.
well, I know.
Not
That's what I'm
really.
saying. They told us they're going to start construction, so we can't use the part of the courses we needed to. And then all of a sudden now, they do nothing.
Yeah.
far
But
as
it's
I
a
know.
different place. Like Bobby,
they still.
I don't know
don't
how
what
long
they're
it's been
doing.
since
Yeah,
you've been
it's
out there, but a lot of trees are gone.
Yeah.
And
The
like,
buildings are gone.
yeah, everything's it's totally different.
I actually drove through a couple weeks ago. So yeah,
Okay.
I
So, you
check things out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in and out, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Dude, in that green mush, Bobby, the last year we ran Ravenwood, Will and I get a phone call. just like a day or two before the event. And we're like, what's going on? There's a dead deer just stuck just in the water, like real visible. And
Like right, in the long part next to the road as you're coming in on the
Off the
left,
downhill.
that little linkage between the big pond next to the pump house and then the one that's closer up to the hill.
Mm-hmm.
That ditch basically that runs through there. There was a dead deer right there, probably like 50, 60 feet away from a pin.
a pin, yeah.
And we had just started having practice rounds, like the course had just opened, and we got the call saying there was a dead deer. Now we had been like right next to it and like cutting the greens and stuff,
Yep.
but it hadn't started to stink yet, and we didn't walk up over on top of the hill to where we could look down in the ditch.
Yeah.
So we had no idea, but now it was starting to stink, and so people were getting to the pin and going, "What is that?"
Yep.
And walking up there and seeing it. So we call Metro Works. You know what the good old boys at Metro Works said when we complained that we were about to have this tournament and there was a dead deer stinking up the green on 15? He said, "Well, buzzards ought to get to it before too long." And they did. And they did. And it was gone by game day. It was completely gone.
So Ravenwood, okay, remember somebody was grabbing my car, moving it, and I threw that box on the hood of my car, and it was blocking their view, and they hit that pole.
Dan
totaled my car
Dan did it.
in the parking lot.
There was a lot of antics in your car that weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Oh, yeah. Before the players'
I
party.
don't know if we can tell that story, though.
You could name names.
When me and you were on the way back from Ravenwood to the players' party in your truck, and somebody else was driving your car, and they were calling you, telling you about their score in the first round,
yeah.
and then all that.
He said he was I know.
You and I may have spent a couple hours in a parking lot together. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting things for that event. So
And the whole time, I know
awesome.
both of us were thinking the same thing. Like, please don't let this happen. And then this is what is in the newspaper.
yep.
And I'm filming it with my phone from the cab of the truck. Like, you guys are over there, and I'm in the cab.
Oh,
of the
you were
truck.
in the big truck.
Oh yeah, we were in the one that he rented for the tournament, and like we were all like literally right there next to the players' party. We didn't get pulled over, but
Somebody else
some
did.
things happened, and it was a little sketch. It was a little troublesome from over there, a little concernicus.
It was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, dude, memories.
Worked
and now,
out. It worked
and
out.
now
We might have to do it again.
and now we get to laugh about it. Maybe. Oh well.
Well, it's
I guess
funny
we'll see.
because
different.
My wife hasn't threatened divorce in about a year and a half, so
Yeah,
we
Doing well.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
Well, it's funny because we're talking about getting an area over in that same area we did the players' party for Ravenwood for the MCO this year. I don't think it's the same place, but in that same area.
Yeah.
So.
Right. That big parking lot right in the middle of all that stuff.
Let me know. I hook you up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you mentioned Leslie when we were talking on the phone earlier. I guess y'all are still in contact. That's a good person to know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so.
Shout out to Leslie. Is she still at what was the radio station?
What's that?
What was the radio station she was with?
Lightning 100.
She's still
Oh
with them?
yeah. Okay.
They're surviving right now through the pandemic and everything else. So Leslie's doing all right. She's same spot.
Good deal.
So I think she was close to having. She had water in her backyard. So,
Oh yeah. The flood here of Nashville, almost the mini flood, if you will.
You guys ever listen to that show on Lightning 100 Music Business Radio?
Yeah.
I've heard it.
David Hooper and Clark Buckner.
I didn't.
So they those two guys administrate a group on Facebook for podcasters that I'm a part of, and kind of get a little bit of info and resources out of that. But they run that whole group. Yeah, I know the radio stations are boned right now, big time. I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the places that used to advertise on Lightning 100, like pizza places, restaurants, bars, and stuff that has had a hard time staying open until recently.
Give her a shout. They may put you on the radio.
I mean,
Yeah, we can holler at Leslie.
Dude, I got to ask you, what are you doing late September? You going to come down here and check out the big show? The national tour finale?
This coming September?
Yeah.
Now you got a place to stay. You can crash upstairs at my place.
Yeah. Come.
Keep in touch.
And you can ride with us. You can ride with me.
And you can help us do things.
You can stand right next to us while we pull this thing off. You get a front row seat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
be
we'll
nice
roll
to
the
have
red
you
carpet out for you. We'll put you up. We'll do another podcast. We'll let you interview people. Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, my Lord. We could, Bobby Brodie.
Dude.
And line up some of the people he may or may not know and not tell them who's going to interview him.
Yeah. Don't tell them.
Don't tell him who's going to interview him.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm not
Exclusive. Breaking news.
not to toot your horn too much, but I was quite amazed with the people and the A-list of disc golfers who knew and wanted to talk to you when we went to USDGC back then. And so it'd be kind of funny to see some of those guys like, hey, you're going to get interviewed. Here's your time. We're not going to tell you who's interviewing you. And then they just will show up, and it's a blast from the past.
Dude, that is such a good idea.
That was fun. I mean, that was like vacation.
Hi, Bobby. I told you this story, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes, there was definitely some interesting stuff on tour. Yeah.
Man, I can't even think about like what it would have been like if if this, like if Cloud9 had opened, if you had been running a pro shop here in the new digital age, you know what I mean? Like with the right marketing and stuff, because you guys had the hustle, you know what I mean? And Cloud9 stuff was on everything for
years,
miles and miles around. And you know, now, I've always been curious to ask you, did you sell the rights to that name?
No.
Because I think there's another store out there operating as Cloud9.
There's always been Cloud9 in Louisiana.
Okay.
I've had shipments go to them. So, we're Cloud9 Disc Golf. No, I just shut the store down. I kept all inventory, name, this, that, next thing. So, yeah.
So were you affiliated with that store, or they was just totally separated, and you guys just
totally
both decided to keep it and not mess with
They
each
were
other?
already there. I think they did like discs, skateboards.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
like
sure
extreme
exactly.
sports
Yeah,
or
I mean,
like
it's more sports store.
alternative.
So that's why we did the disc golf, Cloud9 Disc Golf.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, and I thought about it, adding in different things, and we've tried to stay strictly disc golf. So that was the goal, disc golf only. So
Gotcha.
yeah, well, there was enough other places. So
Yeah. Well, they're doing all right now. I see their stuff on the internet from time to time.
Yeah.
So I guess they owe you a thanks.
In a sense.
I mean, rock on. So
I know Ken Climo never played on their team.
yeah, well, you know, I mean, part of it. So
I remember that was so cool. Like I remember, and obviously I joined the PDGA in October of 2013. So I hadn't been around for an incredibly long time, but I remember going to Cloud9 and getting me a Cloud9 hat. And I rocked the hell out of that thing till it was so ruined, so destroyed that I had to like just put it in a box and then like seal the box in a garbage bag and then like tape it up with duct tape.
I should have worn mine. It's hanging up in my closet.
But it was just that thing where it's like you back then, you know, you look at Class DVDs or, you know, you would look in Disc Golfer magazine or any place where you were seeing pictures of Kenny and Barry and they were wearing Cloud9 hats. And it's like, dude, that's in our city. Like that was such a... Like to me, that was such a thing to be proud of. It was such a, you know, it was such a thing to represent. Like we got,
you know, it was like the same as, you know, growing up. I skateboard, snowboard, growing up in the Bay Area in California and all that. So it was, I had the same kind of vision. I dabbled a little bit before I left California, so with skateboard companies, and so that's kind of the same thing, you know, and that was how I put it together, really. So, but being strictly disc golf, that was difficult. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I imagine back then for sure.
I mean, and that was just how I wanted it to be. So, but you know, I was growing up in the Bay Area, and I had all those older kids that were sponsored by the local shop. You know, they were the cool guys, blah blah. You know, and then there was like Tommy out there throwing a mile. You know, so it was like that's kind of how we had it.
Well, and you
know.
definitely guys were the cool kids in town for a long time.
Yeah,
I remember when I
it
first
was
started, I was
fun.
like, I want to be on Cloud 9.
It was fun.
Like-
We had a good time. You know, and you know, it's
There was a good minute there where you guys were a big fish in a little pond.
Sure. Do you miss it?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I do. I miss a lot of different parts about it. Yeah.
And I'm sure there are some you don't.
The retail and no, having a brick and mortar store in this sport.
Super tough.
I hate to say, but you got a lot of grown babies. I want that color and that weight and blah 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 blah. I'd rather just play.
That is why I'm no longer on the board of directors for the club.
I'd personally rather play, do other stuff, open a shop, let somebody else run it.
Yeah, and just not bother with the politics and the tribalism and the
Yeah,
drama.
so,
Yep.
Yep. I'll do other stuff.
I can completely appreciate and respect that, and that's why I got out. I mean, like it was getting to the point, and, you know, and me and Jay talk about this from time to time.
Yeah. We have
because
many
we
times.
love you and we miss you, and you know we talk
We
about
saw what you went through too.
Yeah, and we
miss
saw
you.
where you were at mentally and emotionally around the time of Ravenwood, and then that after that especially
The aftermath.
and you know it's like, and I got close to that point, and Jay kept checking me every once in a while. And I remember him specifically mentioning, like on multiple occasions, saying, "Dude, I watched what happened to Bobby, and I don't want that to happen to you."
Yeah.
And it was happening to me, and I was getting to the point where I was about to say, "Fuck it,
How
I'm
many
done
times did I
forever."
tell you to stay off of social media?
But you got to.
you know,
If you're going to promote and market, you got to be on
Yeah,
there.
you do.
And,
But
I mean,
Yeah, I was
disc
trying to get
golf
you to, like,
cost
not
me a
re-
not engaged.
relationship.
Yeah.
Disc golf cost me a lot. It was my life, you know, and so it's part of it, you know. There's a few little things I definitely would have changed, but you know, and Ravenwood really is what kind of pushed it over the top for me. So,
Well, you
that-
caught a
that-
lot of shit that was not your fault.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, it was just part of it. But one of those times in life, I was 40 years old. I was like, damn, well, now what?
Well, and that's
I got time to do something else.
I remember that being my first real time that I witnessed how freaking just like venomous and rabid people can get. And like one person make an accusation in a public forum and then create a movement of people that don't have any dog in the fight. And I remember like watching all of that happen, and then it wasn't much longer after that you were just gone. And I look back on that now, and I like kind of look back over the last few years of me operating in leadership in the club, and there were a lot of times when the same thing would happen. It was like one person would try to get some attention, a few other people would join in, hoping that they could get some shine as well, and then they throw these wild accusations around, and pretty soon a bunch of people are believing the nonsense. And it's going and going and going. And it's like, it's the hardest thing to do, but the smartest decision is to not engage. It's just to not go back and forth with it, let it fizzle itself out. And I've done that so many times, but it felt like I was absent from that when the difficulty for me was I felt like I should be in the ring fighting for what I built, but I have to disengage. And you unplugged and walked away.
In his defense, it got so
Well,
bad.
I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing to be defending.
No, no,
Because I like, dude, there was a moment where that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I wanted to just not see any of these people ever again, and I had to move away from the club in order to get back to loving it again, to where I can be excited about promoting and running stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean it took a lot to get me to that point. And I saw the opportunity. I was like, pull the plug. So, I had another opportunity that at that point in life, you know, with everything else going on, because I had a lot of personal things going on. I took that opportunity. So
Yeah.
it was don't waste time, pull the plug and go.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate. Like, you pull off, at the time, probably the best event in Nashville I'd ever seen.
Absolutely.
And you,
Best one I ever saw.
And literally, you had the best feedback and the worst all at the same time. And it was just mind blowing, like the difference. It was like, it felt like because it was such a success and so well, or went so well, that you just got tons and tons of people who just hated on it because it was so successful. That's what it felt like to me. And like being the small part that I had in it, of course, that you do something like that and you hear all this praise, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you see all this negativity, and you're just like, talk about a bruise. You know what I mean? It's like, oh damn, like what the fuck. And so, to see that, and then for the other people not to see that picture of like what that event was. I mean, people literally, we had emails from people, from pros who were like, "Is it going to be the same layout as Ravenwood?"
Yeah.
And me and we're like, no. But we would have people email us because they would want to play that layout and that course and that. I mean,
that was a make it or break it.
Yeah, all your chips were in. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a very real big way, because I mean, I remember even looking at it and thinking like, how did they do this?
Oh my gosh.
And now I've done it a couple times out there, and I know how you did it, and it fucking sucks.
How long did me and you
went
sit on
broke.
mowers? I mean, like we would take a fairway, and I was like, I'll go this way, you go this way, and we'll just cross paths.
Yeah, we did that. Like one hole took us like 3-4 hours. Yeah,
and we did it on zero turn, just me and Will.
yeah.
Just I think I may have had some booty pain from all that sitting.
I think I still do.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
It definitely doesn't feel like it has stopped
and
hurting since.
At the time when that happened, the sand the sand was grown over with grass. You couldn't even tell there was sand there.
Oh yeah.
And
you know how many vehicles we got stuck out there in the last 3 years? Because you just can't tell there's a sand trap there.
And Brett,
We got one.
what was Brett's last name?
We got one stuck.
What was Brett's last name? Who came up with the screen to run the sand through?
And then get Bobcat stuck trying to get the trucks out.
Screened every bunker.
Yeah, this dude and Sean Darty, right?
Yeah.
Those two took the lead, I believe, and literally screened the sand pits we used for that. Like, picked the grass up, dumped it into like a screen they homemade to get the grass out, and then left the sand.
Yeah.
Like, for all the holes that we used for that tournament.
I mean, just the mowing. Well, I'm sure y'all know.
Jackie,
By now.
yeah. Oh yeah, we know.
Just mowing.
And then weed eating.
Even Metro knows, because Metro told us no,
I was
we're not going
mowing
to
in the
you.
dark.
Oh yeah, we were. And then I mean, of course, and then when you go into it and you've got a reasonable timetable, and you do your first big cut, and then nothing grows for 2 weeks, 3
And
weeks,
then all of a sudden,
and you're just like, hey, this is all right. This is going to be okay. And then you leave for 3 days, you come back, and everything's waist high.
And you're like, what the fuck? But Metro, they gave, the last year we ran it, they gave help, but it was the littlest amount of help they had given from previous years. And the guy who runs the Metro grounds crew, he was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'll just use this place to do my training for all the guys who need to learn how to use the brush hog and everything. So he gets them out there, and we're down at the parking lot talking, and we get to chit-chatting about, and he's like, yeah, some of these people, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And about that time, you hear, wha-pow! And the Metro guy's face just goes, and then sure enough, the guy he had out there training, cutting the grass, burned through a transmission or something of the Metro mower that he was told not to be out there using to help us out. And he just, so
Blew it up.
I'm not gonna name names, but that guy, he really helped us out. But it was just funny because all that mowing, you have to have that, and it was that year.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Ravenwood's curse.
It takes
Ravenwood's curse got a hold of Metro.
It takes a crew. It takes a good crew. It takes a lot of work. So to put something together like that, and watching you guys, the last few years, you guys have done a great job taking after it.
Yeah, what do you think about the scene?
I've been
since you've
watching
gone?
for sure. What's that?
I'm just trying to fill your shoes, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think about the scene since you've been gone? Now that you've seen it, and watched?
It's taken off, man. You guys have done it, so it's here you go, run with it.
Well, you are one of the pairs of shoulders that that we stood on to get to where we're at, and it was always about, and I will scream this from the rooftops as many times as I get a chance to say it, but it only works if your intentions are true, if your intentions are pure. Like if you're in it for the greater good, it's going to work because you're going to pull more people alongside you that want to be a part of what you're doing. Everybody's going to have a different skill set and a different set of resources, and it's going to work. But as soon as your ego is involved and as soon as you're in it for your own personal gain and that's your motivation, that's when it all falls apart, man. You start believing your own hype, and it's really, really hard to get a grip on reality and live on the same plane as everybody else. And that's what I think I've been able to do that other people may have failed at, is like, look, I'm just here trying to get some cool stuff done, and I'm going to do it whether you show up and help or not. And like, I'm going to do it because if it happens, then it's going to be awesome for everybody. And that's all I care about. I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care if I have to do it alone and somebody else gets all the credit. I just want to see it done, and I know how it's going to work. I know what it looks like to get there. And because I went out and just started doing it, people want to be a part of that. People want to be in that boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. That's why you keep doing it, love for it. And, no matter what people say afterwards, do it again. So, there's always going to be that one. But everybody else has a good time. So,
well, I want to see a Cloud9 open in a year. No later than a year from now.
Hey, you know what?
Cloud9 open.
I'll run it. If you want to come and be a part of it, you can just pull the strings, sit in the background. We'll call it the Cloud9 Open just for old time's sake.
I'll make a logo.
He'll make the logo. He'll make the stamp.
He just made his
pull out the old shirts.
My sponsor's still selling plastic and doing custom stamps, so we got discs.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Let's go.
You just say the word. You tell me when, Bobby, and we'll make it happen.
I will.
Speaking of which, making stuff happen, this was all kind of impromptu. We came here tonight for the express purpose of talking to you, and thank you for making the time, because I know you're here for another purpose and you're on a deadline. So I'm grateful for you being here. But while we're talking about things happening, I know we did an episode last night and covered all the local stuff. Well, not even all of it, really. There was a lot more to talk about that we didn't. But something that I just found out about today that's worth mentioning, and I'm not going to spoil the official announcement because it is going to be coming, I would say, I think the plan is April 2nd. So a person that everybody knows and knows his name, he's a world champion, and he represents a brand that a lot of people in Nashville are big fans of and doesn't get a lot of play here, is going to be making a very big announcement about an event that is very popular and that is going to be coming to Nashville. So I'm just going to leave it at everybody mark your calendars for May 8th, Saturday, May 8th.
All right.
And we'll talk, and you'll know more on April 2nd. Hey, but no.
I'll tell you about the secret room.
Huh?
Tell us.
What room? Tell me about this room.
Yeah, we'll have to swap secrets here a little.
Okay. I get you.
Yep.
Okay, I'll trade you one.
That's all I was trying to do.
What I'll trade
when you said it's not a secret, and that's why he's not. I was like, I know. I was just trying to pry. I was just trying to get it. He won't give it up.
There's two people I really hope don't see me saying that I'm going to trade you that secret, but it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be announced in 2 days. So, but
nice.
It's going to be big news. Everybody's going to be really excited. I'm really excited to be able to help it happen, and I'm kind of doing some boots on the ground logistics type work to get all the dots crossed and the T's eyed. I think I said that right.
Well, I'm just excited to know that once everything's good and you're handled, that you're going to be back in the disc golf in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's not here, it's just good to know you're going to get back to something that I know that you loved. Yeah. I remember going to the Rocket City Blast with you, man, and playing practice rounds and just how much fun we had there. And it was not business; it was just golf. And so it'd be good to see you get back.
Well, I remember one of the last trips you made to Nashville. I just randomly bumped into you at the Shell station over by my house.
Yeah.
And it was just, I remember thinking then, because I remember what it was like in 2014, 2015, and I remember after we kind of talked in the parking lot for a minute, I remember thinking, man, it's just damn good to see Bobby Brodie smiling.
Yeah.
Like, and laughing. And you looked excited. You were excited. You were on your way to go do stuff, and you were telling me about everything that was going on. And it was good to see that Bobby again. That was the Bobby that I always got stoked to go see at Cloud9 before I went and played disc golf. So
yeah, I mean,
we all want that Bobby back, man.
My dad passed on February 29th last year. So
I'm sorry for your loss. I wasn't going to bring it up on the show, but
that's what brought me back from California. And then now my mom, she's had a stroke during COVID, everything else. So I'm kind of going through that right now. So it's got a lot still dealing with. But then I can eventually get back to me. So, yeah. Other than that,
We'll be here when you do.
Yeah, man. And you definitely have a place to stay, and you feel like, dipping your toes back into the old disc golf pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I hope
It's a good place to do it.
Yeah. We got big things popping here. I don't know if you've been watching the
We got
interwebs
internet.
lately. We got stuff.
I could do it anyway.
We got stuff going, man.
Costa Rica
that's true,
sounded pretty good.
For
Yeah,
sure,
Costa Rica
for
sounds
sure,
wonderful.
dude. Yeah, that's easy to quarantine on an island.
You know? Yep. So you never know. But we'll see. I'll be back. I'll be around. I mean, my kids are here, so you guys are here. So
There you go.
I mean, did you have no idea how many conversations have been had by the people that do this podcast about like needing and wanting to get an episode with, like, get you on the microphone and like
the
talk to you
third
about this
attempt?
stuff? Yeah, third attempt.
Finally?
This is one of those. It was like when we got, Ken Folger, we got Rodney, we got Griff. It's like that was, it was like, man, this is one of those milestones. Like these were the short list of people that we immediately were like, this would be a great podcast to do.
Yep.
This is the one that I think, at least for me, I've been waiting on it.
And the local guys, man, they eat that up. So you're gonna be up at the top.
I imagine, dude, because there's been several random episodes, and I always expect, I guess, in some part of my mind that we put on an episode with somebody that's a household name or close to it in disc golf, and I expect the plays are going to go through the roof, but the ones that get the plays are not what you would expect a lot of times. And based on just my kind of watching the analytics over the last couple of years, like I fully anticipate, like this episode goes up and 3 days later, I just happen to look at YouTube and it's got 500 views. Like, so
yeah.
Yeah,
and yes, I said 500. Yeah, we're not that big yet.
just
You guys
been
need
like-
to subscribe.
I've
bro.
been like the water boy.
that's right.
I follow the pros around.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, lots of people do
Yep.
these
So,
days. Yeah, man, it's
It's been fun. So, yep.
yeah, man.
Well, you guys have done great. I mean, you guys have built this thing. I've seen it. I've watched it. And even in the tournaments, everything you guys have done. So, I mean, I commend you guys on everything you've taken off with. So, club, all of that. I mean, it was it's come along. It's where it's at now. So, you guys kept it going. So, commend you guys.
Well, thank
Good
you,
job.
man. Thank you.
Well,
we had
keep
some
rolling.
good examples to
I was
follow.
going to say we wouldn't be able to do that without the people who laid the path for us. And Will and I have had that conversation more than once about how we have to make sure that we understand that like this success is only because of the people who put it before us.
It's one. I mean, it's. I think like it's several equal parts, but one is definitely the people that came before you. Two is the people that are your audience, that are your base, and then it's your colleagues, your peers. It's the people that you're working with. Those are all three equal elements in success. And that's the thing, man. It's like you got to have a chessboard for all your pieces. And the thing I said about ego. Every person that you have in your circle has a ratio of like where they're going to be beneficial to what you're doing and what kind of percentage liability they're going to be.
Yep.
And the more their ideas and thinking is centered around their ego, the higher that liability ratio goes up.
Yeah.
And
you got to start pulling weight and everything else, and next thing you know, you're doing everything. It takes a crew. It takes a solid crew. It takes good dedication.
Yep.
I mean, disc golf costs relationships or creates them. So
both in equal turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's part of it. It's for the love of the sport. So we all love it, and that's why we do it.
Yeah.
And work and families and everything else, and and taking time out to do this. So, part of it, man. But
And I mean, dude, if I got to buy a bunch of expensive microphones and cameras to be able to sit down for 3 hours with people that have some interesting things to say, like, that's great. I mean, we haven't done 3 hours today, but we did probably 3+ last night.
4,
something like that. We did take a break.
fan.
I don't know.
Where's the fan?
Yeah, the fan probably it cost us audio sound.
Oh.
Although with these new mics that we got, I don't know if they would.
Is that what it was? Was the fan on?
No,
we're good.
we always turned it off because it.
You're talking about the issue from last night?
No, last night. He was talking about a fan being hot in here because we talked about it before with the lighting.
Oh, yeah.
But with the fan, our old mics used to pick it up. Although with these, the new ones that we got, I don't know.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up. And
I was going to do something real quick, real fast, because I've slacked off, and my daughter's 2 years old now.
I think your middle name is Slack Off.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm just kidding.
That's Danger Powers, by the way.
Huh. I guess I should
Austin
probably do one of
first
these.
But anyway, I wanted to get my daughter's PDGA number, and my wife mentioned that she's like, you should get on the podcast, just kind of an on-air thing. And we were talking about PDGA numbers earlier and what we're up to. So I've got all the information plugged in here, and I was just going to go ahead and place that in order.
Yeah, hold it up on the camera
and see what we got here.
158.
It says page not found. So maybe we take a technical error or something like that.
Out of order. That's about par for the course on this podcast.
We got the technical
Never tie for
difficulties.
last cash and technical difficulties. That's the name of the game
Perfect.
in the Sapphire Lounge.
Here we go. There we go.
It'll come.
Are you doing it? Are we
I am
waiting for
doing it
you?
right now that the page has not allowed me to refresh, and I have to go back through that process, I suppose.
All right, everybody just stare at Jay and make him feel really awkward.
The problem with that is I'm Jay, and I don't ever get embarrassed or awkward.
But
So it's hard to do that.
that is a problem because there's some things that you should be embarrassed and awkward about.
I know, and I just take it as life. You know?
Marcus is so done. He's ready to go to bed.
He's ready for Rocket League.
Yeah. Are you going to do something, or are we? Because at this point, we're just waiting for you.
I've realized this. If you would like to, do whatever, pause or something.
Because
I
Bobby's
had to
hot,
go
and
back
I
through
gotta
the-
pee.
I had to go back through the
Is
process.
it a real phone?
An iPhone?
Uh,
I had to go back through the process because it said page not refreshed or page not something or another, and so
You're going to end up buying a PDJ membership for some little kid in India.
that's fine. that kid probably needs it.
You better buy two.
Because he's having a conversation, and we know how well he pays attention normally.
The thing is, though, is when you think I'm not paying attention, I really am. I just
You
don't
have surprised me
pretend like it.
before, but yeah, you sometimes I wonder what dimension you're in. Sometimes.
Mine.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place. That's a bad neighborhood. I don't want to get caught there after dark.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You might get shivved.
Something.
Not my prison, Shank.
Goodness. Gotta love it.
Oh man.
All right. Anyway, you
This
guys,
is why I
Jay's
love these
buying his
guys.
daughter a PDJ membership right
We'll get
now.
back to you on that.
Yeah, we'll give you an update.
I
but
even know when my daughter was born. What month? I can't remember.
Yep.
Kidding. Actually,
All right.
I love you.
Bobby,
Good luck.
thank you, man.
Great having you.
This has
It was
been
awesome.
really special.
Good to
Yeah.
see y'all.
We're really excited about it, and we're really excited to have you in Nashville again, and have you hanging out at a tournament, whether you play it or not. But
Yeah, definitely come hang out with us for sure.
come around for the Music City Open because I'm gonna do it up real big.
And
always
hey, we
gotta
may
share.
have some like limited selection discs that you might be able to buy and do what you do with. So
I'll bring some
I know
players.
Will's got some things for that. So
Do you
I
have
need to
some-
sell
do you have
some
things?
discs.
Yeah, we got stuff. We got things. Don't let me let you. Or we got to get him stickers too.
I was gonna say
Stickers.
the disc that you were gonna give me for the last
Let
cast.
him have it.
Let him have it.
All right, we can go out to the van. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. This has been episode 33.
Love you.
So this will come
Wow.
out in a little while because I still have to edit the episode with Pete last night, and as we speak,
We're
the
premiering?
part 1 with Neil is premiering right now. So, we love you guys as always. Thanks for being here, and stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, rate, review, and we'll catch you for episode 34. Who knows who's going to show up? Who knows?
Adios.
You never know. It could be Paul
Para mis
Macbeth.
amigos, habla español. Adios. Hasta luego.
That's right.
Hasta luego.
Let the bass kick.